One click is all it takes to lose everything.
We are in a cyber war. You can either be a defendant or you could be a victim.
I recently went shopping for the holiday season, and I went to a shopping center where there used to be a ToysRUs, there used to be a Blockbuster, there used to be a Borders bookstore, and all of them are now closed. And that got me thinking. These are staple companies. These are companies that have been around for a long time. Nobody ever thought they would go out of business. But what was the problem? They didn't look at the future. They didn't keep pace with change, and they were blindsided to other entities, other competitors that looked at business differently, and basically they're now out of business. And the reason I bring this up, and it got me thinking, how many companies today are going to be out of business in 5 years because they didn't see cybersecurity? They didn't address cybersecurity. They didn't think cybersecurity was important. And you might go, oh, but Eric, we see these big companies. They have these major breaches. Their stock price dips a little bit, but they're still around. Yes, today. But we have not seen the long-term impact. We have not seen what's going to happen with Marriott when GDPR kicks in. GDPR is the General Data Regulation Protection. This was passed earlier this year in Europe, and basically says if you have information on European citizens, which Marriott absolutely has, and you don't properly protect and secure it, which Marriott absolutely did not, there are significant fines to these companies. So let's see what happens to Marriott when GDPR kicks in. Let's see what happens to Marriott when all these lawsuits start going to court. Let's see what happens to Marriott when consumers start getting frustrated that their information wasn't properly protected. Now, I'm not saying Marriott will or will not still be around, but what I'm saying is there's going to be a lot of companies that go out of business because they did not see data regulation train coming down the track. Data regulation is coming around the world. Europe was smart enough to care about their citizens to actually pass GDPR. And the United States at some point, when senators and Washington, D.C. gets off their butt and starts realizing why they were elected and starts passing some data regulation laws, we're going to see that come. And I will tell you, these fines will be significant. And companies that do not have proper data protection and do not properly protect consumer information are not going to be around. Now, you could argue that ToysRUs, Borders, and Blockbuster are out of business because they did not see the technology train coming. They did not see online sales, e-commerce, and that people aren't going to go to physical stores. And that train ran them over. But I will tell you, you're going to see many other companies, I don't know who they are, but they're going to be as big names like ToysRUs, Blockbuster, and Borders that in 5 years are going to be out of business because they did not see the data regulation train coming down the track. So you have two choices. You can go in and ignore it and see what happens, or you can recognize that companies that succeed and are successful focus on data protection and start addressing that immediately. And it really comes down to some simple steps. What is your critical data? Where is it located? Who has access? And who should be accessing it? And if you really want to get basic, don't have critical data, don't have consumer data accessible from the internet. So if you want to win when it comes to cybersecurity, if you want to win when it comes to business, data regulation is the name of the game. And the sooner you start focusing in on data inventory, where is your data? How is it protected? How is it controlled? Those are going to be the companies that win. And companies that think cybersecurity is a fad or data regulation is not important, they're unfortunately going to follow the fate of Toys R Us, Blockbuster, and Borders Books.